Here's a concept that changed the way I think about competition and about what it actually takes to succeed. Tracy calls it the winning edge, and the principle is deceptively simple. Small differences in ability lead to enormous differences in result. Read that again. Small differences, enormous results. Not proportional, not linear, exponential. Think about horse racing. A horse wins by a nose, just a nose, the barest margin imaginable, but it earns 10 times the prize money of the horse that finished second. 10 times. Was it 10 times faster? No. Was it even 10% faster? No. It was a nose faster, a fraction of a second, a difference so small you could barely measure it. But in a winner-take-all game, that tiny margin translates into massive rewards. Sales works the same way. When a prospect chooses one salesperson over another, they're not choosing based on who's dramatically better. They're not running a detailed analysis of who has superior features or pricing. They're choosing based on who felt slightly more trustworthy, slightly more confident, slightly more helpful, slightly more aligned with what they need. And that's the small edge. That's the tiny advantage. Translates into all the money. The salesperson who wins gets the commission. The one who loses gets nothing. Not half, not a percent, nothing. Winner takes all. Here's why this matters. If success requires being 10 times better than everyone else, most people would give up. It would feel impossible. Who has time to become 10 times better at anything? But if success requires being just 3 or 4% better in that area that matters most, that's achievable. That's something anyone can work on. That's within reach. Tracy identifies what he calls the key result area of selling. These are the core skills that determine your success. There are 7 of them. There's prospecting, building rapport, identifying needs, presenting, answering objections, closing, getting referrals, and repeat business. He compares them to the digits in a phone number. You have to dial each one correctly, in sequence, to make the connection. Miss one digit, even one, and the call doesn't go through. Doesn't matter how many other digits you get right, the call fails. Sales works the same way. If you're strong in 6 areas, but weak in one, the weakness breaks the chain. It doesn't matter how good your presentation is. If you can't close, it doesn't matter how well you handle objections if you never prospect. Each skill is a link, and the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So here's the real question. Which of those 7 areas is holding you back? Be honest with yourself, not defensive, honest. Are you great at rapport, but weak at closing? Strong at presenting, but avoiding prospecting? Good at identifying needs, but soft at asking for the sale? Most salespeople know somewhere deep down where their gap is. They just don't want to look at it because looking at it means admitting something needs work. And that's uncomfortable. But here's the insight that changed my approach. The moment you identify your weak area, you have the winning edge in sight because you can improve it. And improving it, even slightly, changes everything. I think back to a guy I coached when I was running my team. He was solid at almost everything. Great energy, strong presentation. People liked him immediately, but his closing was soft. He'd get to the end of a conversation, the moment when the sale either happens or slips away, and instead of asking clearly for the commitment, he'd trail off. So what do you think? Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Want to take some time to think about it? Vague, passive, weak. And because of that one gap, he was leaving deals on the table. People who wanted to say yes were being given permission to say, let me think about it. And once they left, they never came back. He spent a few weeks focused on one thing, closing. Not the entire game, just the close. We practiced different asks, rehearsed the exact words he'd use at the end of a presentation, made him say them out loud until they felt natural. Based on everything we've talked about, I think the family plan is the perfect fit for you. Should we get you started today? Clear, direct, confident. He felt awkward at first, thought it sounded pushy, but we kept refining until it felt like an extension of his personality, not a performance. Until the close wasn't an imposition, it was simply the next step. Within a month, his numbers jumped. Not doubled, but up 20-30%. Not because he changed everything, because he fixed one thing. That's the winning edge. Here's another piece of this. The people at the top didn't start there. Tracy makes this point repeatedly. Everyone who is now in the top 10% started somewhere in the bottom. They weren't born with superior skills. They weren't given advantages others didn't have. They identified what was holding them back, and they worked on it. They treated every weak skill as a project, every gap as an opportunity. And over time, those small improvements stacked up, compounded, until they pulled ahead. Tracy cites research showing that the average top performer earns 16 times what the average bottom performer earns. 16 times. Not because they work 16 times harder, not because they're 16 times smarter, but because their small advantages, compounded across years, create massive results. They win by a nose, again and again, and those noses add up. You're not starting from scratch. That's the empowering part of this. You already have most of the pieces. You're already competent in most areas. You just need to find the one or two things that are costing you and fix them. That's all. Because 3% better at prospecting, 4% better at closing, 5% better at handling the objections that keep tripping you up, and watch what happens. Here's what I want you to do this week. Pick just one key result area that you know is weak. Just one. Maybe it's prospecting. Maybe it's presenting. Maybe it's asking for the close. Maybe it's following up for referrals. Whatever it is, the one thing you've been avoiding, focus on it. Read about it. Watch videos on it. Practice it. Role play it. Get feedback. Don't try to fix everything at once. That's overwhelming. Just become 3 or 4% better in that one area and watch what shifts. Because when you build the winning edge, even by a nose, the results don't increase proportionally. They multiply. But here's the deeper question. How do you know what to work on? How do you know which skill will actually make the difference? The answer isn't guessing. It's studying. Studying what the best are doing. Reverse engineering their success. Understanding that success isn't random, it's predictable. That the law of cause and effect. And it's the most liberating idea in all of selling. Hey, thanks for checking out this clip from the Sales Evolution Lab podcast. If you found value in this lesson, be sure to hit subscribe to evolve for the future of selling. And if you want the full breakdown, the deeper stories, the practical toolkit, check out the full episode. Just click the video on the screen, and I'll see you there.